You know what's crazy about the world we live in? Prices are already sky high. Prices are already going up. And apparently Walmart's first quarter profits were a lot lower than they anticipated originally. And they're blaming them primarily on President Trump's tariffs, despite the discounted rate that we've been hearing about between China and the US over the last couple of days. So apparently Walmart has went out and let the world know that more than likely they're going to start to experience some pretty decent price hikes. So I was watching this video on CNN, and what I decided to do is I watched two videos to get a little bit more perspective. I watched CBS News and I watched CNN. CNN was speaking to a finance guy from Yahoo Finance. The gentleman's name is Rick Newman. And what I also did was I took comments from CBS News, because the CNN people are so mad at Orange Man that if you look at their comments, it's almost just strictly hate towards Orange Man. With CBS News, at least we got some unique questions and thoughts, but they still hate the Orange Man. So anyway, Rick Newman from Yahoo Finance said that basically, even with the discounts, you're looking at 30% tariff or a raise in prices on most Chinese goods, right, and stuff, 25% on imported automobiles and auto parts. A lot of us don't realize that every time you go into the mechanic, it seems like they always find something that you're going to need a repair on. I have a feeling we're going to start to see a pretty hefty jump in the price of automobile repairs. In my opinion, and maybe you guys can agree or disagree with me down below, I think that's what makes most people actually start to go broke in this world. Because a lot of us live paycheck to paycheck. We need that car. We rely on that car to get us not only from point A to B, but let's be honest, we rely on it to get us to our job itself, right? God, the sun keeps hitting me. Look at that, no matter where I go, the sun is there. What is that all about? So anyway, imagine all of a sudden you're paycheck to paycheck, something happens with your vehicle, you're gonna need to spend an extra couple $100 on top of what you were already having to spend to repair that bad boy. 25% up, 25% tariff costs on steel and aluminum, and then basically 10% on everything else. Holy shit. Oh my God, you are the most beautiful puppy. Make sure you go home, okay? God, you scared the crap out of me. Oh, come on, you gotta go home. You gotta go home. Come on. Let's find your house. Go inside. Oh my God, there's more of them. Hey, is anyone here? Okay, go inside, guys. Be good. Go inside. Holy moly, that scared the crap out of me. I'll hold you down here so the sun doesn't blind you. God, I thought some guy was attacking me. I heard this thing running up and then it tackled my legs. Holy moly. That's how quick life can change. Thank goodness it was only a pit bull. Jeez. The most dangerous dog basically came up and licked me to death right there, but it could have been much worse. I'm sure you guys would agree. So let's talk about this real quick. 10% of an increase is going to be tough, but when something's a 10% increase, you would hope that a company like Walmart, which by the way, in this video, they basically said that Walmart was basically the canary in the coal mine for America, because it is America's #1 employer after the US government. By the way, there's something scary about that, right? When you employ more people for the US government than we do at Walmart, there's something very wrong and scary about that. I don't know how to put it to words, but things should not be that way, right? Anyway, they were saying that it works as the canary in the coal mine because many people are employed by Walmart. Almost everybody has a Walmart within 5 minutes of their home, and almost everybody shops there multiple times a year, spending thousands upon thousands of dollars. In other words, there is nowhere to run. Now, if the price increase was simply 10%, I would hope that Walmart, since they make so much crazy profits every year, I would hope that they would eat a big percentage of that. But the problem is that a lot of times there ends up being more than just the 10% tariff they have to worry about. And because of that, they pretty much said they're going to have to throw some of those costs on the consumer. So no matter how you slice or dice it, these tariffs might help us big time in the long run, but they're not going to help us at all in the short run. As a matter of fact, we're all going to start to feel an even bigger pinch going into the future. Hi, how are you? Okay, so right there we have a human being that basically doesn't say hello. That's what I was talking about. That's the problem with this world. Nobody wants to say hello. But what else? On CNN, the video was saying that basically Trump's tariff plan was going to be successful to help our companies break into other countries. But there's nothing about that equation that's going to lead to us paying less. And he was saying it's just a simple mathematical equation. If right now we're having our products made in other countries where their minimum wage laws are non-existent, and all of a sudden we have to pay our minimum wage workers, $20 an hour, it just seems natural that prices are going to go sky high. When you listen to all the doom and gloom, it sounds like we are kind of screwed. There is one thing that you guys can do that can actually help you during this time. You're not going to want to hear it, but it changed my life, and I think it can change a lot of your lives. Is this where Jesse tells us to walk? Not this time, Bob. One of the things that I've done over the last handful of years, although you would never know, is I've become somewhat of a minimalist. I'm one of these guys that, yes, although I do have a little bit of a shoe collection, it's not expensive shoes, guys. I have mainly a walking or jogging shoe collection. Those are like $40 and $50 pairs of shoes. Nothing major, right? And I built that collection up over time, and it's not that special of a collection, to be honest with you. But what I mean by minimalist is sometimes people want everything new each year. You want an iPhone every single year. This might just be the year where it might be good to wait another year or two until you upgrade your iPhone. Sometimes people want to get a new vehicle all the time. Well, you might strategically have to start thinking about leasing your vehicle instead of buying it, especially if you're just going to trade it in every 2 or 3 years anyway. You might have to actually start thinking about things like eating generic or even clipping coupons. A couple years back, there was this show, I forget what it was called. It was something like extreme couponing or extreme clipping. And it was about women and men that basically gave up their garage space, and they had endless supplies of shampoo, coffee grounds, right? Soap, mouthwash, toothpaste. And they actually found ways through couponing where they would go to the store, and some way, somehow, they would end up getting free food out of it. Do you guys remember those shows? You and I go with a coupon to the store, we might save $1 or $2, on a $10 purchase. These people find a way to go to the store with these coupons. They get double coupon deals. They get to use them on clearance items. And before you know it, they get to leave the store with $100 worth of junk, and they still get $12 back in their pocket. It was the weirdest thing, but it created a phenomenon in this country that I fear is going to have to come back. Not for fun this time, but out of necessity. You're going to start to see people couponing more. Goletra says, it's not that prices are going up, but prices are going up only in America. Goletra, I doubt that is true. I'd be willing to bet prices are going up all around the world, but it is kind of weird, the situation that we're in. I find it fascinating how inflation works and how everything works in the grand scheme, and how these different moves that people and administrations can put into effect, how they can really start to affect us in the short term and in the long term. I find it fascinating. And if what all the experts say is true, the next year or two is going to be really, really challenging, and potentially it could last a lot longer than that. At 1234 Brand says, note to self, Never believe a politician's lies when campaigning. God, it's so weird. I was so upset at Joe Biden because I felt like prices were up. I felt like he didn't know what day it was, right? I felt like Democrats were so foolish for loving Biden so darn much when he didn't even know, what the heck he was doing. And all of a sudden, here we are, and it seems like everybody, not only in the country, but across the world, can't stand the moves that Trump is doing. And I got to be honest with you, I'm finding it hard to see as well. I don't really know what the grand plan is. I mean, I kind of see it, but it sounds to me like this might be one of those that, I don't know, maybe we need to rethink and kind of go back to the lab again with. But I got to be honest, I don't really know how the economy and all this stuff works in the grand scheme of things. So I'm hoping that we're actually all collectively wrong, and that in a couple years from now, we look back and say, you know what? We bit the bullet, we took it up the ass for a couple years, but now we're stronger and better than ever. And I think deep down, you guys want that to happen too, right? We want this to some way, somehow, work out better for us. If it doesn't, however, then you might want to really think about minimalism. And minimalism is where you start to purchase less. If everything's going up in price and everyone else is going to be buying those expensive items and getting more and more broke, you can actually avoid that. Make it a choice that you're just going to kind of enjoy the stuff that you have. You're going to make the stuff that you have last longer. You're going to start consuming less. And in the grand scheme of things, when life is good again, if you can stay consuming less and less, then you're going to be able to take that momentum, and when life starts going our way, you're going to hopefully start to really accumulate some wealth. What holds us down when it comes to debt, and what holds us down when it comes to accumulating wealth, is we spend too much money, we consume too much stuff. So if this gives all of us the perfect reason to quit buying so much stuff, then let's take advantage of that, because we already know there's going to be some people that charge a bunch of stuff on their credit cards. There's going to be some people out there that don't try to change anything about their lifestyle. Look, even if we all had $1 million, we're spending too much money per person, right? We all have places where we can cut back and stop. For example, how many of us are paying 18 or 20 bucks a month? I forget what it costs now for our Amazon Prime. Why do we do that? We do that because we say, well, hell, it's not that I want to pay 20 bucks a month for Amazon Prime, but I buy enough stuff from there that I might as well get the free shipping. But then we complain because it's no longer next day like it used to be. It's almost like it's not even that great of a service anymore, yet we still pay the 20 bucks a month. If we didn't shop as much, we would stop the Amazon Prime right away. So again, I feel like there's a learning situation that can occur here, right? We can all learn how to get control over our spending. If everything's cheap all the time, we're always going to have an excuse to go ahead and buy it. Oh, that's only 10 for $1? Throw an extra one in there. Oh, that's buy one, get one free? Well, let's get 2 of them then. Buy one, get one frees are a lot of times what gets us in trouble, because it literally rewards us for over-consuming stuff. So again, I think this sucks. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, this could be a situation where in 4 or 5 years from now, some of us are going to say, hey, believe it or not, that was the best thing that ever happened, because it forced me to learn how to control my spending habits. At Taylor Knox says, this is what MAGA voted for: higher prices and higher taxes for us, and lower taxes on the upper 5%. Thanks, MAGA. Thank you, MAGA. Yeah, I guess we can't really argue with that logic right now. Again, I have to hope that the future proves us all wrong. I have to hope as a conservative that in the future this all works out for the better. And I got to be honest with you guys, in my heart, I still think it will. But in my brain, I just don't know how the math is all going to work. The only thing I can think of is that Back in the 80s, people went from buying vans and gas-guzzling pickup trucks to little two-door economical vehicles from Japan. Did you guys ever hear about that? Ask your folks. A lot of people started buying economically better vehicles when it comes to fuel consumption. And we ended up making Japan's economy skyrocket because of Toyota and Nissan. Well, that's what's going to happen here. You're going to start to see less and less people buy SUVs, and you're going to start to see more and more people make do with the current vehicle that they have. Phone 1337 says, good thing I don't shop at Walmart. Phone, it doesn't matter if you shop at Walmart or not. Some way, somehow, you're going to end up feeling this pinch. Heckardero 2 says, Trump voters complained about Biden's prices, but voted for a lot higher prices with Trump's tariff prices. When we vote for a politician, we usually vote for somebody, number one, where we feel like we're affiliated with that party, and we usually vote for somebody because we think that they're going to make some good moves. We don't necessarily think, but I'm going to go back on what I said if that candidate ends up making mistakes. That's what this is. I think Trump made a mistake, and this is another learning event that we have when it comes to the ego. I think because Trump has such a huge, oversized ego that sometimes it's hard to stop, take back your actions, apologize for what you've done, and admit that you might have made a mistake. That's what makes you and me decent human beings, right? Because sometimes in life you have to just throw your hands up in the air and say, you know what? I made a mistake. Carla, I should have never slept with those 38 women when you were out of state. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. Senior Green says, may have to start, ? That question was because the video was saying that people are going to have to start consuming less. He goes, have to start, ? My soda has already went up 22%. So whenever you buy something that's around $1 and all of a sudden it costs $1.25, that's a real easy way to say, hey, my stuff is going up 25%, right? That can affect you right from the get-go, right from the bottom on up. And a lot of us are going to start noticing that our $150 weekly grocery bill is all of a sudden going to start to be a little bit closer to $200. And again, when you go to fix your vehicle, instead of $800, it's going to cost closer to $1,100, and on again. So we're going to have to find a way to adjust. The good news is, as Americans, it's kind of one of the things we specialize in. We're really good at adjusting. So with that being said, put your shoes on, go for a walk. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.